A warm welcome to everyone. Afternoon in Melbourne, Sunday morning in India, and many other parts of the world. It's a global webinar, the third one, and we've been having good participation. The first time we had Dr. Atreya, the second time Justice Ramasubramaniam ji, and both very renowned personalities. This time we have a younger person, nevertheless equally brilliant, Uma Mahesh Garu, also known as Aksharam Uma Mahesh, AUM, Om, is a speaker, author, Indologist, researcher, and a linguist. A cloud computing engineer by profession, he's also fondly known as an Akshara scientist. He has extensive knowledge in ancient yet relevant Indian sciences like Shilpa, Agama, Jyotisha, Kalpa, Tantra, Ayurveda, and a few areas of Veda, Vedanga, and Upaveda. Having toured across the globe propagating greatness of Indian linguistics and their contributions to diversity, his main motto has been person and linguistic diversity protection in this modern digitization setup. Being a researcher of Indology, specifically Vedic phonetics, is working on applied Indian phonetics, bringing awareness about Vedic scientific spiritual temperament in phonetics. He has been extensively working on English spelling reformation tools to alleviate the script to pronunciation disparity. He has authored several books in Telugu. Some of them are Aksharodayam, Akshara and Nandikesha Kashika. His book, Akshara Vinyasa, The Rising, is acclaimed as a complete reference to our Indian phonetics and Akshara system. He has executed innovative projects like the Swadhyaya Pravachana, the Matruka movement, and Aksharodayam, which aims at promoting truth through the science of Aksharams. Uma Mahesh Garu, this is just an introduction to Atmalaya for you through this webinar, but we pray and request you whenever you are free that you should have frequent sessions because your topic easily cannot be covered within 45 minutes, but I'm sure today you'll provide an introduction to this unique subject. Thank you and a warm welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. Pranams, Padmajaji. I'm very humble before you. You're a great scholar, Acharya, and whatever you are exhibiting with Purna Rasa, also you're practicing and also you're arranging these purposeful talks. It's like Swadhyaya and Pravachana. Thank you very much. And your students, Chandanaji is also following your footstep. Thank you very much for giving this opportunity. And my topic, I'll just share my screen. My topic is normally we know Aksharams is a kind of thing like which is only specific to kids, not for elders. Normally we think like that, and also we have some perspective like Aksharams are some script. It's a grapheme. It's a grapheme. You need to write it. It's a script. If I say Aksharam, I may think Telugu alphabet. Another thing is alphabet. So this is normal perspective, generic perspective on Aksharam. And also we think India has different Aksharams. But my session today, my objective is to uncover some of these things, some of the secrets of Aksharam. And it's very, very logical. It is a pure science, which is not touched by many people, like 80% of our like Indian diaspora. So my mind map of this session is, I'm just showing my screens. This is Atomic Truth of Akshara, a book I'm writing because Padmajaji gave me some name, the Atomic Truth Akshara, that actually ignited me towards something, the Sukshma chakras and also the internals of the Akshara, and I started writing a book also. Thanks, Padmajaji. So the Atomic Truth Akshara, today's topic, has this mind map. First, I will discuss about the origins of Akshara. origins of Akshara, and definitely I need to touch the Vedic phonetics. What is the Vedic, linguistics? What is Vedanga? All these things. And so these are origins of Akshara. And second thing is Akshara science, the scientific aspects of the Akshara, that organization. Akshara is kind of a chemistry elements table kind of thing. Each and every element, each and every, in that matrix, ka, cheta, tapa has some logic, and kaka, gaga, that row has logic, column has logic, everything has logic. So that we'll discuss in the Akshara science. Then we have Akshara as Paravidya. Akshara is not just a linguistic subject. It is not for linguists or languages. It has lot of, it actually spread across human life. So that we'll discuss Paravidya, how it is used as for self-realization also. And third topic is how Akshara influenced entire Indian, traditions, contemporary world, as well as the history, everything, science, Aryabhatta enumeration. Aryabhatta used this for astronomical calculations. And Katabaya, the system we used, like many artists, Melakartaraga, there also we use Aksharams. And inner sciences we use Tantra, Kundalini, all these Shatchakras has these petals, nothing but Aksharas, Antarmatrukanyasa, Bhirmatrukanyasa. And also because of this virtue of the Akshara, Indian subcontinent, I say Greater India, is preserving more than 1,000 languages still and dialects. That is because of the Akshara, where in other part of the world, all the languages are diminishing. But here we are preserving, we are celebrating that linguistic diversity. That is also because of Akshara. And the fourth thing, very importantly, what is the current contemporary problems for Akshara? For example, if you are, nowadays we are writing in limited ASCII keyboard. I mean to say the alphabetic keyboard. When you write Akshara in alphabetic keyboard, for example, if you are writing to write the, you use D. Okay, what about da? You use D. For that also use D. For ta and ta, you use T. For sa, sha, sa, you use S. For la and la, you use L. And Rama, R-A-M-A, and R-A-M-A, whether it is Rama, we don't know, or Rama, we don't know. So these all, there's a lot of limitations of the alphabetic keyboard in digitization. Since we are using more this keyboard, we are trying to hamper the linguistic diversity as well as Aksharams. How we can solve those problems, all these things we'll discuss here. This is my mind map of this session. So we'll just start this first topic, that is the origins of Akshara. Origins of Akshara. You can see this map. This map is this world map. This world map, there are almost 7,000 languages in this world. Those 6,900 languages approximately, people did researcher, and they found 50% of those languages are only residing in this part of the world: Australia, Papua New Guinea, India, and some of the parts of Brazil and these areas. And very, very important thing is, other languages are, a lot of tribes are there, and that's why there are tribal languages where they don't have proper profound phonetics, profound linguistics. Whereas in India, as per 2001 census, 30 languages spoken by more people, and also 1 million native speakers, 120 languages spoken by 10,000 people, and still there are 780 languages are living, 1,599 dialects in India. I'm talking about the political India right now. Actual Greater India is different. Greater India used to have till Afghanistan. I will show those maps and all in future, like next slides. And very, very importantly, in these languages, we have many classical languages, like they have 2,000 years history, literary history, 1,500 to 2,000. Vedic Sanskritam, Vedic Sanskrit is, ancestor to the Sanskrit, and Tamil, Sangam literature, Tamil Sangam literature, and Pali is used by Buddhist scholars and Jain, Kannada, Telugu, Odia, Malayalam, Braj, Awadhi. You can say a lot of, and so on. All these things are very, here important aspect here is, they are built on top of the Vedic phonetical framework. That's why the foundations are very strong. That's why we are celebrating that linguistic diversity and profoundness. That's what I wanted to put forward. See, this is the because by virtue of Vedic linguistics, you can see Marwari, lot of languages, Bangla, Marathi, we are living because of Vedic phonetics. And previously Nagari, these are all Prakritams, Nagari, Prakritam, Suraseni, his ancestor to the Punjabi language, Magadhi, Prakritam, Odra, Maharashtra, Marathi. So Parvata, Nepali, all these things, Dogri, Kashmiri. And here, this is Greater India. Greater India, now you know, this India, Pakistan, Afghanistan, Tibet, Yunnan, Burma, Thai, these all currently political, countries, divided countries. But previously, I named this as Akshara Khandam because all the languages in this place, Kandahar is nothing but Gandhara, and you know Trivistapa is Tibet. Yunnan and Burma, they're known as Kirata, Magadha, Panchala, Mascha, Chera, Pandya. Pandya means till Simhala. All this they use aksharams only. Kachatatapa. There's a proper science in that. So all these things are influenced by Vedic phonetics. And you know, Suvarna is nothing but nowadays Borneo. Yavadvipa is Java. So Javanese, all these languages. Bahasa, Indonesia, that is also Akshara only. This is about Vietnamese Champa. This is one example. Like I'm talking about this is Akshara Khandam. Greater India used to be like that. Next, greatness of this Greater India is not just it has width and breadth, many like a lot of population and all, and also this origin for phonology, etymology, grammar, all the linguistics, also astronomy, logic, whatever you say, the medicine, that's Ayurveda, all these things. And even though they are inventions, they are used for the selfless and peaceful inventions by rishis. And finally, to find the ultimate truth, all this knowledge is used as a purposeful living. And apart from this, the Vedic phonetics is a 5,000 years old Akshara system is still practiced by more than 1 billion people. If somebody asks you, Sanskritam is a Murtabhasha, say Sanskritam is Murtabhasha, you can say, it is not Murtabhasha, it is still living in 1 billion people's tongue as Akshara system. Now we'll just touch base on Vedic system, how it used to be, and then we'll go to the Akshara science. Previously, the learning institutions called Gurukulams. You know, you can see the ruins of Takshashila. Now it is in Pakistan. It was a great university. It is in Nalanda, and this is Varanasi. And Gurukula system, students used to go there and learn. What they used to learn is very, very, profound subject like Ayurveda, Rajaniti, Dhanurveda, all these things are Upaveda. Dhanurveda is Upaveda to Yajurveda. Like that, you have a proper structure to this studies. They are called Bharatiya Shastras. And these Bharatiya Shastras, all Shruti Vidyas. Shruti Vidya is nothing but you listen and memorize and learn it. It is very high scale tradition. It is not a oral tradition. Normally we say Shruti Vidya means it's a tribal oral tradition where one person sits surrounded like on campfire and sing some songs and memorize. That is not Shruti Vidya actually. Shruti Vidya is high scale education system, is always depends on Swadhyaya and Pravachana, Vedic learning. It's almost you need to learn within some 6 years, some 1,000 books. Nowadays, whatever 1,000 books that you need to memorize. You should not use paper and pen and remember it. And also you need to apply. It's just not a song to just repeat. You need to apply it on day to day, and also you need to introspect and deliver something to this society. So the Shruti Vidya is listening, learning, and memorizing based high scale education system. There is a musical accent for every syllable, and it's like rishis know humans are supercomputers by nature. They know how to tap the human energy. That's why they invented yoga, they invented Ayurveda. Everything is natural. Also, they invented Akshara system. That if you are focused and peaceful, you can memorize infinite. That's why they created this kind of system, complex phonemes and so many techniques to remember. Same thing we are using in nowadays music, Carnatic music and Hindustani music systems, as well as dance, like whatever you need to imitate. And to preserve that, there is a summits, Vedic knowledge summits called Parishads. Parishad, every 2 years it happens. Each Kulapati is nothing but a scholar who leads 1,000 students. They teach 1,000 students. That he is called Kulapati. All Kulapatis used to meet in Vedic knowledge summits. That's called Parishads, and they started writing from Pratishakhya Granthas, Anukramanika books. That's nothing but it's like it's not actually text. It's a kind of sutras, formula kind of things. So you can properly apply, and if any discrepancies, they used to solve. This is about 3000 BC. I'm talking. This is what started Pratishakhya Yuga. It's nothing but meetup. And then they invented many things. Prakriti Patam, Vikruti Patam. For example, first line of Rigveda: Agnimile Purohitam Yagnasya Devam Rutvijam. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 words. Agnim Yile Purohitam, Agnim Yile Purohitam, Yagnasya Devam Rutvijam. They divide. That is called Padapatam. And then Kramapatam, again they divide and they understand that. So this is Prakriti Patas. And Vikruti Patas also they created. 1, 2, 2, 1, like that opposite, and 1, 2, 2, 3. Lot of permutations and combinations. They use it to memorize. Even if you wake him up in midnight also, he could be able to tell entire, Rigveda. That was the, that is the goal. And also there are Hasta Mudras. Hasta Mudras normally we use in Kathakali and all dance, different Bharatanatyam and all. Bharatanatyam Shastra, Nandikesha, Abhinaya Darpana, a lot of things mentioned about this Hasta Mudras, all this in Asamyukta. So this Hasta Mudras, the origin point is Vedas. And also, very importantly, the first world's mime language, sign language, is this Hasta Mudra. Still, it is practiced in some of the scholars, by some of the scholars in Kerala. I'll show how it happens. This is one video. Probably you can't listen this audio, but here, this entire whatever like pebbles he has here, these are all mandalas, Rigveda mandalas, 10 mandalas and all. He randomly picks up, this person randomly picks up some mandala, and he gives some signal with the Akshara mudras. Each Akshara has some mudra. Why? Because, for example, 1,000 students are sitting and one Kulapati is teaching. He and also their kids, he needs to understand what is the Dirgha, where is only Dirgha or Dirgaha, there is Visarga. For Visarga, there is one symbol. For only Dirgha, another symbol. Like that, for every Akshara, there used to be a symbol. So like that, they learn. That is called Akshara Mudras. Now you can see, now he is telling the Akshara Mudra, the mantra. Then he start chanting that. So the same thing happens like when teaching also from childhood. They teach with proper movements of head as well as hand, hasta chalana, for every shabda. This is the Shruti Vidya. So this is an example. So it happens like that, and that's what, like one akshara there is a mudra. For pada there is another thing. Pada abhinaya, like this pada spotas. They say level 1 is syllable level, and then vakya sentence, and then you can enact. These all different levels of the education system. This is not because of only these hasta mudras and all, because of there is a powerful linguistic mansion that is called Vedanga. Vedangas are six. There are 6 shastras. There are 4 linguistic related and 2 related to how to do and when to do. When to do is done by like mentioned by Jyotisha, and when, that is when to do, and what to do is like guided by Kalpa Shastra. And other 4 are is Vedanga, linguistics related. First thing is Siksha Shastra. Siksha Shastra is modern day phonetics. It is the foundation of modern day phonetics. How to utter and what kind of sandhi happens, all these things. Aksharasa belongs to this part. And next thing is Nirukta Shastra, Vedanga Nirukta. Nirukta is nothing but etymology, where you have dhatus and the aksharams. If you combine, padam will start. Padam is nothing but word. And then the word has some agreement between those words. Person, first person, second person, and vibhakti, samasa, all these things. Kriya, all these things are by Shabda Shastra's extension, that is nothing but Vyakarana. And fourth one is, once you have that sentence, how nicely, how profoundly, beautifully you should tell as per the Alankara and Chandas, and also restricted to Varnik or meter or Guru, Lagu, all these things, that is Chandas Shastra. With these 4, they systemize this linguistics. Vedics, this is not a oral tradition. It has lot of profoundness, and then it is still living more than 5,000 years without any like single difference because of this. For this entire mansion, this linguistic mansion, basis, foundation is Akshara. Without Akshara, Siksha Shastra, this entire mansion will collapse. This mansion is driving us, all 1 billion people of India, Indian traditions. So the basis is Akshara. That's why if you want to know about any civilization, the greatness or maturity, you should look into their linguistics. If that is mature, you can say that is great civilization. We are of Indian Vedic civilization, we should be proud of that. So we are going to next topic, the science of the Akshara. Very, very
Excuse me, can I just in between,
sorry.
Uma Mahesh Garu, that was quite quick, in fact. So is it possible that we go to the next level after pausing a bit and reflecting on whatever you said so far,
Sure.
as a summary in about 4 or 5 sentences, if it is possible, starting from Greater India and the oral tradition and the mudra, the memorizing method, the listening, and
Sure.
how Sanskrit having the perfect grammar, how people were finding it easy to grasp. So just give a short summary before we go to the next level, please.
Yeah.
I think that will help all the listeners.
Sure, Padmaja. I think you gave it in great way. Like, so this origins of Vedic linguistics, we actually, the slides, there's a Greater India and linguistic diversity is still there in Greater India, only because of the Vedic linguistics, Vedic phonetics, Vedic linguistics. Vedic linguistics and their history are very, very much attached to Gurukulam, that system, very peaceful and also very innovative, very scientific. That one is based on the Shruti Vidya, where Ghanapada, Jatapada and Hastamudras, all these things. Also, there's a profound, there is thoughtful, organic, development happened with like because of the Vedic knowledge summits and the great scholars and contributing. Rishis are contributing to preserve the linguistic and biodiversity. So that's why they invented all these things. And very importantly, this has impact on all our arts nowadays, whatever ways, arts and traditions, that Vedic system has impact. And importantly, this Vedic linguistics, where Siksha Shastra is phonetics, Nirukta is next level, is word level, that is dictionaries and all dictionaries, everything has origin that goes back to India. And next level is Vyakarana, all grammars again go to Panini Vyakarana and all, Vyakarana Shastra, and Chandas, how beautifully you need to create mantras or shloka or poems or whatever, or the sentences, vachana. All these things depends on Chandas Shastra. For this entire beautiful tree, the root is Aksharam. The great mansion's foundation is Aksharam. So we'll now discuss about, we'll focus on Aksharam and its science, how scientific it is. I'm going to prove. Please focus here. It's very, very important topic. You know, in 6,000 plus years old Akshara has astonishing secrets. This is a table, you know, A, I, E and A to Ksha, that is Akshara. So each and every line, I mean to say row and column, has some logic. It is just, you may ask me, like, if you ask me why B is coming after A, I may not tell you, I may not explain you, but I can talk 1 hour on this Akshara because there is a logic. So here, this is Akshara Samamnayam, Atuksha. It is origin of sound is based on human vocal system and mouth. Siksha Shastra is nothing but Vedic phonetics is origin to this. Also, Panini's boon from Maheshwara, that is Patanjali, the Maheshwara Sutras, that we'll talk later. In our tradition, Vedic tradition, I mean to say Indic tradition, the speech has 4 states. One is Para, Pashyanti, Madhyama and Vaikari. It is simple, not to complicate the subject. Para is nothing but the life force which is trying to talk or exhibit or act something. And Pashyanti is nothing but the desire to speak out, that expression, that is Pashyanti. And Madhyama is nothing but you need to conceptualize the thought. That is the medium state, that is Madhyama. And Vaikari state is nothing but the sound comes from the Vishuddhi, from the mouth. That is nothing but speech. So these are 4 states as per the tradition. For my purpose, I actually built this Akshara Padmam for my teaching and also for my self-study. This is nothing but 4 layers of the Para, Pashyanti, Madhyama, Vaikari. Here, this dot is nothing but Bindu. Bindu is the life force, Chaitanya or Chit, which actually exhibits as it becomes a spanda, is nothing but a wave. There's a desire. That's nothing but a Kameshwari. If you go to Tantra and all, so that actually a circle, and that circle will become a triangle. Triangle is here, Madhyama state, where A, U, That's nothing but the combination of these 3 is nothing but Om. Why Om has that, Om has signs. We'll discuss and we'll prove, and then you can understand exactly why I put here and then Akachata Tapa Yesha. These are the first lines of the box. We know the A to is 1 box. Kakagama, Akachata Tapa, there are 5 lines, and there's a box. And next thing is Yaralava, Antastas 1 box, and Sashasa as Ushmas 1 box. So all these 8 boxes are 8 petal Padma. This is the Vaikari state. This is Madhyama, and circle is the Pashyanti, and this is Para. Now, we need to understand what is Balam or Prayatnam to understand the Aksharams. Balam, Prayatnam, effort is nothing but you need to put some effort to talk. That is nothing but Balam, as a name given by Vedic phonetics. You know, in Sikshavalli Taittiriya Upanishad, there is a line. Siksham Vyakhyasyaamaha Varnaswaraha Matra Balam Sama Santanaha. Varnaswaraha Sama Santanaha Matra Balam. Don't think this is a chanting. Each and every word has lot of meaning. In that Balam, for that Balam I'm going to explain you. Only that Balam has this much meaning. So now, Balam is 2 types, Bahya Prayatnam and Abhyantara Prayatnam. Bahya is nothing but external effort. Abhyantara is interior effort. Bahya, Abhyantara. What is Bahya and Abhyantara? Take your vocal system. This larynx and all here is Bahya Prayatnam. From here, whatever your efforts you are putting, that is Bahya Prayatnam. In the mouth cavity, whatever efforts you are to putting and creating something, that's nothing but interior effort. That's called Abhyantara Prayatnam, Bahya Prayatnam. Combination of these 2 is nothing but the sounds created by human being. So that's to know those things, the Bahya Prayatnam, Abhyantara Prayatnam, we need to understand two things, that is Sthanam and Karanam. So Bahya Prayatnam, Abhyantara Prayatnam are 2 areas. To understand this, you need to know the Asthanam and Karanam. Karanam is nothing but sthanam is nothing but a fixed point, For example, this hand is a fixed point. I'm trying to clap. This moving, this one is karanam. Karanam is nothing but mobile apparatus. So I'm just clapping. This is sthanam and this is karanam. So if you try to utter tatta dadana, your teeth becomes the sthanam. They're not moving. They're fixed point, and your tongue is touching that place. That's why the tongue, the jihva, becomes the karanam, and sthanam is your teeth. So that's why they are called dantyas. Tattha daddana is dantya. Same way we have murdhanya, tattha daddana. You need to tilt your tongue upwards, and murdha is nothing but this part, palate, upper palate. Upper palate is nothing but, murdha, that part, 90 degrees angle, you tilt your tongue upwards and produce the sound, tattha daddana and sha, all these things. So this is nothing but sthanam and karanam, fixed point and this. So next thing is, based on, you may see this a to ka to ma, and why these boxes? First we focus on these boxes, these groups. This actually divided based on the abhyantara pratnam, interior effort. What is that interior effort is? Between the sthanam and karanam means, for example, the teeth and tongue, in the case of tattha daddana, if they are touching, they are called spristam. They're called sparshas. Ishat spristam, touches partially. And next thing is ishat vivrutam, expands partially. Between the sthanam and karanam, if there is little gap, that is ishat vivrutam. Vivrutam is, there is a lot of gap, that is expand fully. Samvrutam is, it shrinks, touches and shrinks. So depends on the sthanam and karanam. There inside the mouth cavity, this box is divided. I will tell you what is the sutram. This adhyaha, panchada, there are 5 types of interior efforts. Sprusta, ishat, sprusta, vivruta, samvruta, bedhat. Now, these called sparshas. These called sparshas. For ka to ma, you should touch both. And for a to there are vivruta, open. And yara lava is ishat sprusta, just touch, and ishat vivruta, and sasha saha, you touch. That's why these things are divided into different things, like a to and ka to ma and yaralava and seshasaha. Here, hrasvasya varnasya prayoge samvrutam vivrutam savarnam and ishat vivrutam ushmanam. Ishat vivrutam ushmanam. Ushma are nothing but sasha saha. There ishat vivrutam, just to open and tell the utter. Ishat sprustam antasthanam. Antasthas are yaralava. So because of that, these boxes have been arranged. And next is, in those boxes, each row, I mean to say, each row in these boxes also has meaning, has some logic. These boxes based on the interior effort, and rows also has some logic. That is depends on the varnotpatti sthana. Ka, cha, ta, ta, pa. In the case of, if you take ka, cha, ta, ta, pa, ka, cha, ta, ta, pa, these rows, there depends on the varnotpatti sthanam. For that purpose, we have some sutras. Here, in alphabetic tradition, what we do is we normally write so many times all these things and understand that graphem. Try to, it's like a painting, practicing painting. But that is not our Vedic system. That's not Vedic phonetics. Vedic system always a Shruti Vidya. You need to understand, you need to utter the sutra, and after 1 or 2, if you are adult, after 1 or 2 hours itself, you can understand the secrets of this entire aksharam. No need to spend years or months on this. For example, secrets of this rows. Akuha visarjaniyanam kantaha, ichu yeshanam talu, riturashanam murdha, litalasanam dantya, upa upadhaniyanam voshtav. How kavarga is coming, chavarga is coming, tavarga is coming, tavarga is coming, and pavarga is coming. Example, they are saying Akuha visarjaniyanam kantaha means a and ka, ku is nothing but kavarga, kakha gaga ma, and visarjaniyanam ha and visarga. Ha is nothing but the letter ha. Visarjaniyanam is visarga. Ah, if you exhale, that is nothing but visarga. All these things come from here, kantha. You can experiment it. You just try to cough, ka. It comes from here, kantha. Maybe cough because it's coming from kantha. It's because of it became a cough. Maybe kakha gaga is kanthas. And next thing is Ichu Yeshanam Talu. Talu is nothing but a ja. Inside ja, that's the part, jaws. The talavya is, you need to shrink your tongue back, sha, ya, cha. Expand your jaw and bring back your tongue, and you need to produce them. If you bring back and produce whatever sound you are uttering is nothing but e, chu, ya, sha. It's not a bookish language, it's a prachaksha pramana. It happens like that. It is very natural. So ichu yeshanam talu. The talu is the origin point for e, chacha, yaja, nya, ya, sha. And next row is ritu rashanam murdha. R, tu, tatta, dadana, ra, sha. All these things, they come from murdhanya. That is nothing but the retroflex area, cerebral. Cerebral is, you need to put your tongue 90 degrees upwards. That is riturashanam murdha. And next thing is litalasanam dantya. Dantya are the dental teeth. You touch your the jihva and teeth. There's a touch that's called sparshas. So litalasanam dantya. And next thing is upu upadhaniyanam oshtav. Pu is papa babama. You should touch both lips. That's why they are oshta. Put your lips in a circular manner and you produce u. So upu upadhaniyanam oshtav. The upadhaniyas are this upadhaniya is specific to Vedic part. Ah pa ah fa. These two are not used in normal languages. It is Yah palanirya, there it comes. Yah. So ahpa, these things. And this is about the upa upadhaniyanam. You would have understood now the logic behind these sutrams, and you also appreciate why there is a ru and lu. It's not to remove. People are trying to remove ru and lu because they don't know they are trying to remove. It's if you're a programming expert, you know some languages, is a pointer. For entire thing is a pointer. If you try to remove that, maybe you are ignorant, or you're trying to know that, but trying to chop down the signs. So that's the secret of rows. And you know, not just rows, not just boxes. Each column also has some meaning. I will explain that. I mean to say, ka, ka, ga, ga, nga, not just that. Ka, ka, each column also has some meaning. Meaning in the sense, there's a logic. It depends on the external effort, bahya prayatnam. So from here or from the nasal cavity, whatever you are, whatever effort you are putting on that in the interior, that's called bahya prayatnam. Bahya prayatnam are to produce the mahaprana sound, aspirator. For example, ka, ka. You should use this spot. Ka, aspirated. Ga, ga. What about ka and ga? If you know the ka, you can produce ka. If you know the ka, you also can produce ga. That's called nada aghosha. If you're shrinking that, it becomes ka. You just give some gap in the larynx part, that becomes ga. Ga, if you give some gap, it becomes ga. If you shrink it, then it becomes ka. and close your nose and try to utter ka or ga, it gives you the last anunasika. Nga, nga. Like this. So if you know ka, you can produce all other sounds. That is the secret of this bahya pratna. And also to maintain the duration, matra, 1 second or 2 seconds, dirgha, all these things, and also udatta, anudatta, tivra, mandra, in music also you have all these things driven by this bahya pratna, this part. And importantly, this nyamagananam nasikacha, it's very important sutram. Nyamagananam, all these things, ka, close your nose and utter ka, it gives nga. Close your nose and produce whether cha or ja, it gives nya, nya. Anjali, when you are writing Anjali, naturally you should use this, Anjali. Ja, cha, cha, ja, ja, that ja you should use. For example, Ankam, Angam, for that you should use this, Kakagaga. And also close your nose and produce and utter da or ta, then na comes. Same way, tata dadana, the close your nose and produce na will come. Same way, amba or ampa, ma comes. Ba, close your nose and utter, then ma comes. So these are anunasikas. They said the sutram is nyamagananam nasikacha, means you should use the nasal. That's why we have alpa pranas, mahaprana, and this nada, ghosha, all these things. That columns has that meaning. That's why there is a sutram for this. Bahya pratna, there's 11 types. Vivara, samvara, mahaprana, svaso, nado, ghosho, aghosha, alpa prano, mahaprana, udatta, anudatta. There is a sutra, like 5 or 6 lines. If you utter and practice it, then you can understand secrets of entire our aksharams. Here, there are a couple of things like karo, vivara, svasa, aghoshascha. What is this kara? What is hasha? Hashascha, samvara, nada, ghoshascha. This is very, very important thing. Here, everything is like mathematical formula in our aksharam. Sutram is, sutra is nothing but a mathematical formula. There's a sloka also about definition of sutra. Here, kara is again because by the boon of Lord Shiva, Panini created a grammar that's called Panini Astadhyaya, and Nandikeshwara understood the mysticism, the cause of this entire creation, 2 dimensions, but only these 14 sutras gave birth to different aspects. So Panini invented Astadhyaya, developed that. And what is this sutra is? What is this Maheshwara Sutra is? I even a lot of, if you're learning Sanskrit, you might be knowing this. Atu, al. In Telugu, we have Achu, Achulu. Achulu is nothing but A, I, U, Lulu, E, O, I, O, Ch. Atu, Ch is nothing but all the vowels. It's a cryptic thing. It's a, if you say Ach, that's nothing but all the words. It's like these are delimiters. Same way here, what they are saying is kharo vivara svasa aghoshascha, means the khar are nothing but from kha, pa, cha, ta, tha, cha, ta, ka, pa, i, sa, sha, sa, r, khar. All these things are that kind of thing that has that properties. He's saying in one small, 1 or 2 words. That's the power of the formula. This Vedic phonetics. This is about Shiva Sutras. And now it is similar to, if you know the chemistry table, or the helium, all these things, there's a lot of meaning. Same way our Akshara table also, another type of elements table, in my opinion. Even the swaras, vowels also has meaning. All these things are savarnas coming from same part. But ye, au, I, another sutras are there. Yedaito kantatalu, ye vodauto kantostam. If you are producing I, a, e. So a is nothing but kantya, e is talavya. That's why they say kantatalu. From here they started producing the hybridized place. That is sankirna. These are all savarna in one place. If you observe this, there's a proper science behind our aksharams. And people are trying to remove this thing, rulu, because people are not aware. That's the problem. So I think this should be known to them, who are policymakers, and they should understand, and they should keep the rule. And otherwise we are just, it's similar to the cutting down our legs, but we are trying to run, but we are cutting down our legs. And also ksha has meaning. Atu ksha, why ksha? Ksha has cryptic meaning. It is a starting to next level, that is sandhi. Varnas over, you need to combine them. Atoms are over, now you need to combine them and create a compound. That's the meaning of ksha. That's why there is a sloka also. Kshavarnaha ka sa yogataha, means you're mixing them and you're creating that. So atu ksha has varnas, and from ksha you start gunita and all sandhi, all these things. So everything is depends on sutras and some rules and regulations, and there is a science also behind this. And next thing is modern phonetics. Whatever we are using nowadays, modern phonetics is have royalties and all, is actually based on the akshara system only. Phonetics, for example, jihva is dorsal, and sprishta is plosive, voiced, internal, unvoiced, unaspirated. All the words, jargons, your these are nothing but swasa, ghosha, alpaprana, mahaprana, unaspirated, aspirated. And also you have murdhanya, retroflex, probably from the Royal Asiatic Society of Kolkata, when in 18th century, when Britishers were ruling. From that, these would have traveled to West probably, and they started inventing the International Phonetic Alphabet, or IPA Association, all these things probably. So this is the greatness of our Vedic phonetics. This is humongous Vedic knowledge. There are some 1031 branches were there previously. Now only 30 branches are available, Vedic shakas. In that also we have very little we know. In that little, whatever we understood, we are astonished to see that. And we lost almost 1,000 plus Vedic branches. Means, I mean to say, the shakas. At least we have a little bit, and we need to understand this because this is cryptic way. We can understand also, we can use this for the purpose of uniting. I am actually teaching Telugu people and some of the students, also elders. That's an akshara table. Here we have vakarasya dantoshcham. Va, when you are producing, there is sutra. Vakarasya dantoshcham means you should touch your danta to voshcha, means lip, lower lip. Then only va will come. Fal is wrong. That is also dantoshcha. Pa is correct with his voshcha. For example, you are trying to utter the Farsi word, or ha, fa, all these things are Farsi words. To maintain those things in our akshara table, we can even we can actually add those things and create a bigger chart. How many letters we have, that great. Otherwise, that's called a defective orthography. Very less letters and trying to write something, and there's nothing but you're trying to chop down or kill the phonetics of that language. For example, if you are trying to write da in D, that's called defective orthography as per linguistics. But how many more letters if you have, that great. Example is Kannada, Malayalam, Telugu. They are one example. They created a lot of Manipravala kind of thing, and also ancient Tamil Grandhi script. That's really great. All the sounds they accumulated, la, karagam, ra, all these things, and also Guru, Laghu, Saptaswara, Shadjama to Nishada, all these things combinedly is nothing but Akshara Samamna table. It's easy to learn. If you don't know the rules, it will become very hard, and then you try to chop down. If you know, it's very, very easy. You should know the sutras. You should be learning this traditionally, not by hearting or not in an alphabetical way. This is what I'm teaching to Telugu students. Like same thing. These all some fa, ha, all these things are Arabic, Persian related sounds also can produce. Ella and Kayagams, Tamil, that one, all these things are added here, and teaching. So we can preserve our, that's what applied linguist of our Kannada, Telugu, Tamil, all this Tolikappiyar, whatever, like Nannaya of Telugu and Katantra Vyakarana of Kannada, they invented like that. They use the inheritance. Computational linguistics is called inheritance. There's a property, as it is you take and expand it. So that's inheritance. So they took Panini grammar or Katantra grammar and expanded it. They used for their thing. That's the heart of linguistic diversity. This is about the second chapter, the science of Akshara, and there are many other things in Akshara. It's actually, I don't know whether I have time or not. Akshara Paravidya. There Tantra secrets are there. In Kundalini we have, and also whatever we are speaking Vaikari, it ends at Omkara, the Pranava, Nada, Nadanta, and again it goes till Samana, and then end is Unmana state. All these things are called Sukshma Chakras. Those things are actually can be described in Paravidya, and also how Aryabhatta used this for Aryabhatta enumeration, for astronomical things, Melakarta Ragas, and also for encryption, indexing. We used everywhere. And sculptures also, in Brihadeshwara temple, for example, I'm giving Brihadeshwara temple. You wanted to know the structure of, in Dakshina, south part, all these things, bricks, they write to these letters only. And they have some, that's called, they map it to numbers. That's called Aksharapalli system. So they map it and they bring all the shilas or bricks and they build it slowly. These all used everywhere. This is proper for indexing purpose they used. And this is Paravidya is for inner sciences and, Tantra and all. Walk, I already explained. Human being has 5 senses. 5 senses is nothing but input device from where we grasp things. That is called Jnanendriya. Order of perception always Rupa, Shabda, Gandha, Sparsha, and then Rasa. Rasa is nothing but taste. You have to use your tongue. That's the very nearest thing. If you don't have eyes, ears, then only use this part. Whereas light, you can see, that's normally more used Rupa. And then next thing is Shabda, ear, smell, then touch, skin, and tongue. But dominance is always eye and ear as input device. But human being has specialty, that is speech. He uses more tongue to produce sound, and also ear. The specialty of human being is he can do mimicry. He can produce anything from childhood. If you teach kids, they can talk Chinese, they can speak Sanskritam, also Tamil, also English, that's a music. Music, if they learn the music, they can mimic. Even bird songs also they can mimic. That is the capacity of human being. So speech is more usage in human beings. And Shabda depends on these natural things. Shabda is Shabda Brahman. That's why it is always, it is indivisible. That is a para state. Shabda is nothing but the cause for the vibration, any vibration. Vibration, if it is audible, that is Vaikari state Shabda. It is Nitya, everywhere we have, because probably we change the states, body to other state, but the basis is same. That is the, and Shabda and Artha. Shabda is attached to any matter, that sound, then it will become Padartha. Pada and Artha, meaning that's why that's matter. That Padartha has something. There is a Rudyartha and Yogikartha for everything. So like that, they created this concept of Shabda. And in Tantric traditions, they have Parapasyanti, Madhyama, Vaikari, and which is in this chakras and all. This we'll discuss due to the time constraint. Like these all 4 states we have. Everything is, Ichha Shakti, Jnana Shakti, Kriya Shakti, these 3 things, which is nothing but Ichha Shakti is the desire, Jnana Shakti is a conceptualization, and the Kriya Shakti is utterance. For these 3 things, in between spindle is life force, that is Chaitanya. So this is what they explained in that complex Sanskrit slokas. That is the picture representation. This is life force, this is Icha Shakti, this is Gnana Shakti, and this is Kriya Shakti. Now, this is macro level. Whatever we are talking, Vedas and our poetry, all these things are macro level, higher level. So macro level is whatever, like poetry and all, samasas, mantras, all these things, and it goes here. But very importantly, I just touch base on the micro level, and probably I'll see the micro level is after aksharas, a, u, a and u, you would have understood now. A is kantya, u is at the end, that is u is oshya. All the entire cavity, the borders of this entire cavity from a to u. Without tongue also you can produce these two, a, u, and nose, that is nasika, a, u, So this om, a, u, gunasandhi, if you mix those things, it will become om. That om is a representation for entire Vaikari walk. In that, at the end of this Vaikari, this end of this, that is nose, from nose, whatever you're producing, closing lips, is the starting point for this Sukshma chakras. So for this Sthula Vibhaga, whatever it comes, like from all the poetry, all your mantras, what you're talking, and Aksharamala, then Omkara, then till all these things are mapped to Shat Chakras. If you see the Shat Chakras, if you Google, I'll show Shat Chakras here. Shat Chakras have the petals. All these letters are mapped till Agnya Chakra. From Agnya Chakra to Sahasrara, in between, the Sukshma Chakras will come as per the tradition. The Sukshma Chakras is a big journey. It is very easy to come here, but here to here is so much like a deep ocean. A lot of animals are there. Same way, here to here, Vaikari state is different. From here to here, they map these things. That is, and then Anuswara, and after Anuswara, Ardhanuswara, that is Bindu. That's why we put the Tika here. And then after Ardhanuswara, there is a Chandrakala, like that it goes Nada, Nadanta, Shakti, Vyapini. And here you would have seen here, there's a half matra here. 1 second. Half is k, g. These are half second. And under that, like half of that is 1/4, 1/8, 1/16, the vibration, 130, 164. So it goes on here. That is samana. Samana is with mind. Samana. You have mind there. Then after tapasa, also come back and you do that. So that is samana. Unmana is no mind. So you reach pervading state and you do. This is what told in different Tantra Granthas as well as our Vedic traditions, and practiced and given by Kashmiri Saivism or Tantra or many other aspects of this traditions. Mahabindu and Shodasi. Shodasi is 16th one. Para and Prasada, a lot of things are there. That's why breathing also, somebody say sum and hum. These two have a lot of meaning. The s, so ha is exhale, s is inhale. So after that, it goes to the prana, the breathing. Utterance goes to the breathing, breathing goes to the mind, mind goes to somewhere where we can't talk, only we can experience. That's what they said in the tradition. This is called, we can create the Bijaksharas, all these things. And also Nada Yoga, music also, again, it is related to that. Akshara we write and we speak, where we have some musical thing, that is Nada. And finally, everyone reaches to that Nada state. And importantly, this Nada state, just not talking, there is a Tantra also, like for each and every Akshara, there is a Agama Devata that should be meditated. Importantly, it is not about just talking. Without talking, also our dancers, like great artists, they also can feel it, rasa. There is nothing but, there is another vada called Spota Vada. Spota Vada is nothing but alignment. Normally we have this one small thing I'll tell. There's a Trikona, this is called Trikaranas. Whatever we think, we need to exhibit. These are actions. Either we speak or we exhibit through body. That is mudras and all exhibition happens in the dance. Speak and dance. They both create a resonance. Resonance is nothing but rasa. Whatever you're trying to convey is reaching somewhere, that is rasa, resonance. So either you can do in two ways, and both has the spota. Spota is the alignment, the truthfulness, trikarana suddhi. Either you can create that using the akshara or the hastamudras. That's what they say. That's what there's a famous shloka also. Yato hastastato drushti yato drushtistato manaha yato manastato bhavaha yato bhavastato rasaha. Angikam bhuvanam yasya vachikam sarvavangmayam. Vachikam sarvavangmayam. Aharyam chandratarayitam numah satvikam shivam. So this yato hastastato drushti. So it goes and it goes to nada finally. That's what Spota said. That's what the rasa theory of anybody like Abhinav Gupta, anybody, whatever they wrote. This is the essence of
Maheshji, can I just come in now for a moment? Maheshji.
Thank you, Padmajaji.
Yeah.
Please,
are there many more slides, or are we done with the PowerPoint more or less?
I almost completed this. There are still two topics, but their influence, everyone would have known the influence of Akshara.
Shall I take the audience views? I'm seeing a lot of people who have already done Vedic studies. Some of them are professors, and I cannot name each and every one of them because it will take a lot of time, but I request you all to post some questions relevant to this topic. I know it has been an extensive, exhaustive session, not really exhaustive because there's much more to be done. So in short, you touched upon Omkara. So what we all gather is if you recite the Sanskrit mantras with clarity, with precision, also with devotion, because bhava is very important in whatever we do, then I'm sure things like even COVID will not come near you. That is the assurance that all of us can have at this juncture, because they're all so potent. Now, could you again say what is so special about Omkara?
Omkara is that should be practiced and experienced. Maybe depends on the willpower of the sadhaka. That may impact the panchabhutas and they change. But in general, that will definitely purify the heart. That will definitely purify the heart, and it will open a channel. It will create a qualification to that sadhaka to have the inner eye so that he can start journey inside. That's why I mentioned, I actually couldn't gone through that slide. Omkara is the gateway of the Vaikari and other states. That is the door. So from that door only we can enter to this inner journey. So that is the key, Padmajaji. So it may be, if you want a materialistic to sustain the body, probably Omkara and other bijas also you can add and perform with willpower.
So what I understand is from the unheard to the heard or the articulated level, Om is the actually the agent or the first sound.
Yes, Padmajaji.
But when you spoke about the label, the emphasis on the teeth and the tongue, does it have a relevance to that also, the cleansing part?
Definitely, because every aksharam has, there is one scripture, not scripture it is another book, Nandikeshwara Kashika. That Nandikeshwara Kashika explained all each and every letter and the mapping to the mysticism of this creation. For example, A they say as Nirguna Brahma, and Yi as the Chit, which actually that Nirguna expands and it's actually referred by Yi, and U is Maheshwara, like that Vishnu, whatever mix of A and Yi, that actually pervades, and it is the material, matter and space plus the energy, combination of these two. Like that they explain in those. So definitely each aksharam has their own power because of this lam, hum, yam, these panchabhutas, They have mapping to Laha, higher level, and they created mantras. And only thing is the practice, focus, and forgetting the body is very important at that metaphysical level.
And even for dancers, you spoke about dance, the Bijakshara mantras, they are the ones from which we have adapted even the syllables for Nattuvangam. And very often when we chant those, it really cleanses us from within. And very good sound vibration even to the people who are hearing you. We have a question from Vidya Upasaka, whom I know about. He is asked, what is the Matruka Nyasa? Can you
yeah, that's what I'm about to tell. And he asked, great. So when there are two types of Matruka, internal and external. Antar Matruka Nyasa and Bahir Matruka Nyasa. That is normally taught by Guru. It is Antar Matruka Nyasa is all these chakras, it's 6 chakras, petals. There are some letters, Atu, Ksha. Agnya Chakra is that. Till that, from Mooladhara to mapping inside those chakras is Antar Matruka Nyasa. Bahir Matruka Nyasa is on the body. You there's a Kala Nyasa, a lot of Nyasa there, 84 Nyasas are there. In that, these two are basic things, Antar Matruka and Bahir Matruka Nyasa. Once we Bhuta Suddhi, there is nothing but cleansing the body, the 5 layers of the body, and 3 Shariras, Karana and Sukshma and other Shariras, Sula. This is a cleansing part. So Antar Matruka Nyasa, whatever you are referring to imposing on the body, this is Bahir Matruka Nyasa. Inside is Antar Matruka Nyasa. Yeah. This is also, again, Akshara related only.
And those Aksharas cannot be told in public. That's what.
No, that is normal Aksharas only.
Okay.
No, but only Rishis and all normally told by the Gurus. Saraswati is the normally, like, I will just show the slide. I actually skipped the slide because of the time constraint. That's actually a Tantra related, Srivijaya Sampradaya or any, if you are trying to install a temple also, they do, is a cleansing part. These two, they start like how you pranayama you do and do sankalpa, cleansing. There is Antarmat Bhuta Suddhi, Antarmatruka, Bahir Matruka Nyasa. Then you start any other stuff, cleansing ourselves. There you use Atuk Shah only. That's the power of our akshrams. Yeah. Whatever your kids are talking or we are talking, that Atuk Shah is equivalent to that Antarmatruka.
Atuk Shah, okay.
Atuk Shah only, yeah.
Okay, Umalji, there is a question, is as a common man, is it correct to understand that the letters and the way of learning of our mother tongue is spiritually connected to us?
Yes, that is the advantage of our Indian tradition. That's why we have Akshara Abhyasa also. In Akshara influence, last slide is that. See, this is Akshara Abhyasa. So from childhood, and also you have Shodasa Samskaras. From birth to death, you have Samskara. Samskara is nothing but aligning with nature. Same way, Akshara Abhyasa also is an opportunity for us to materialistic as well as internal, like self-realization aspects, you can merge and live happily.
The next question is there any pattern or set of aksharas that by pronouncing the set of words with those syllables can improve the speech for children?
The Maheshwara Sutras always good to like pronounce. The
Maheshwara Sutras often are not correctly recited at all.
Yeah. So if it is taught to the kids, that is always good, Padmajaji. So that actually the Kha, it's the same sequence also great. Atu Ksha is
can
also
you just
great.
recite the Maheshwara Sutras in a lyrical manner for us, please? It's real good to hear it also.
A, I, Un. This is Na. I, Un. Ruk. It's like a kind of a drum. Ruk. This is a 1/4 matra actually here. Ruk. Yeong, I ouch, hayavarat, lan, nya, ma, nga. This is nga, nyama nga na nam.
It's wonderful.
Japai.
It's as if Shiva is using the damaru and dancing.
Yes.
And
Japai.
at one stretch without stopping.
Yes, yes.
Like a mantra.
Yes, mantra. But I'm trying to Jabhai. This Mahapranas and this is chacha jaja nya. So Jabhai, ga dash, dash. It's kind of beat. Ga dash, jabagada dash, jabagada. This is sha. Is again talavya sha, jabagada dash, kapha chata Kapha, Chata, Tha. These are all Mahapranas. Again from here, Chetatau is Alpa Pranas. Kapha, Chata, Tha, Chetatau. Kapain, Ya. And Se, Sha, Sir, Hal. So this is practiced and produced with proper rhythm. This is always good for the left brain and right brain. At least that's what I got peace after reciting. I can tell.
Thank you so much for obliging, Umaji. I have a question here from one of your audience is, in to ksha makes aksha or akshara. What does Ra stand for?
Like Ra and Sha normally says that belongs to, so Jyotisha belongs to Sha. They use, so I'm coming at 11ish, that Sha and Akshara are same, which is belongs to Akshara. And
kindly
also,
mute all of you.
And also in the goddess, like Saraswati is Akshamala, they say. That is not a Rudrakshamala or anything. Akshamala is Atuksha, and the fifth one is La, somebody they add, because from Rigveda they add La. That Akshamala, normally we do Japam. That's why this Antarmatukanyasa, Bahirmatukanyasa comes into picture, because that is a cleansing process. So Akshamala is, you need to attach a Samputi with any mantra, and that, im and that. So that's why Akshamala is Atuksha only. Akshara is Atuksha. There is another Akshara that is stop it, Kshara. That is again infinite.
So infinite possibilities is
yes,
what is there in this atomic truth. I have someone who's raising a hand. Can you please type your question, madam?
The chat box is not permitting me to type. I'm Sudha here. I just wanted to ask.
I will unmute you. Yes, anyway, you are unmuted. You can ask your question, please.
Yeah, I just wanted to request if Sir could explain the importance of the resonance of the Gayatri mantra.
Actually, I'm not going into that metaphysical and spiritual arena, but as per the traditional people, what they say is Gayatri mantra is Gayantam Trayati iti Gayatri, which actually, if you sing in a proper their own, the whatever swara given, it actually protects us, because always that says Dhiyo Yona Prachodayat, means the whatever the I will become instrument of this nature, Mother Nature. So I will be aligned. That's what the essence of that Gayatri mantra. That's what I know from my traditional gurus and all. That only one thing I can tell.
Thank you so much.
I have someone who's typed a question on my phone. Does it have any relevance to people who do not have all the tanmatras, like or the karmendriyas, jnanendriyas, wherever there is a handicap, deaf and dumb or blind people, and even other creations like the animals, they say they have sixth sense. So what is the peculiarity about these compared to what you've spoken, which is for normal human beings?
Yeah, that's what Akshara science, and that's what I mentioned here. As Paravijja, first slide is exactly same. Um, my intention is same. Here at this level, if you have eye, you can see. Who has no eyes, they can listen. Their perception will improve in this part. Sound, if they can't listen, their touch and smell will be improved. Even maybe creatures or maybe physically disabled or anyone. And touch, afterwards touch. Then they use, either skin or, and some animals like, the snakes and all, they use their skin. The same way, you can use tongue also for tasting. That is also there in the creation. That's nothing but COVID kind of viruses. They will be inserted, DNA, RNA. So definitely there is dimension, only 5, the tanmatras, whatever tanmatras we are saying. Some is a combination of these two, but human being is a kind of evolution. So we have all these 5, but other people can also do wonders, because as per our scriptures, I don't want to enter into the Shabda Pramana, but Pratyaksha Pramana also, there are, we can actually realize ourselves with limited, input devices. That's what I can say. That's the example of, if you go to Shabda Pramana, you have Sri Kalahastisvara story, etc. So creatures also has, self-realization right.
Uma Maheshji, Bhagavan says in the Gita, Aksharanam akarosmi.
Yeah.
So I am Akara in Aksharanam. So can you explain that?
Aksharanam Akarosmi is the same thing is mentioned in Nandikesh Kasika also. But Nandikesh Kasika said Akara is Nirguna, Parabrahma, and also Amen, Alif, all the languages they start from A because it's coming from here. Kantya, the first part is so that's why maybe I don't know the intention of Shri Krishna in that, what he wanted to tell, but he definitely he is the starting point of everything. The Bhagavan, our origin, normally we say any sect, any religion, the starting point is God. So maybe Akara is the starting point for entire this thing. That's why A is his reference.
For all of us who had assembled here, those who would like to have a copy of the PowerPoint and then read it at length and introspect on these aspects, kindly message me in this chat your email address, unless you have registered and we have it with us. Yeah, so we can send you a copy of the PowerPoint also.
And also my book, Padmajaji, so that Akshara Vinyasa, The Rising, has everything of this. So probably I wanted to distribute freely that ebook, maybe in one or 2 weeks.
Yeah, so very kind of you that he wants to distribute it freely so that everyone can benefit from the book, from the ebook. So if you can kindly send us to Atmalya email, Atmalya, AATMALAYA 2002 @gmail.com. I am typing it here. So if I have your email address, I shall definitely send you this e-copy of the book and also the PowerPoint for all of you to benefit from it later on, because there is a lot of substance which he has tried to incorporate in today's session. Any other questions, or shall we just have a Mangalam, sir? Any shloka that you would like to chant for us as a Mangalam?
I think
Chandana, is there anything that you would like to ask?
No, I'm just keeping quiet and thinking about the session.
Okay, sir. So can we, thank you so much everyone for giving us your valuable time, and some of you are here. We have slotted even some of you for the next few weeks to be able to talk on Sunday mornings for us, because we can all use this time to gain more knowledge, because as dancers, being performing artists, we are not able to do justice to the art by going on stage. We had a lovely performance, a virtual program by this little girl, Durga, disciple of my disciple, Chandana. And this is one way in which we are all able to keep in touch, not only with each other, but try to get more such people to speak to us and enlighten us about so many topics that will help directly and indirectly our pursuit of excellence through our art, through our science, through any field that we are in. Any last words from you, Umaji, before we call it off today, please?
Padmajaji, only thing is like there is a last slide, Akshara versus alphabet. After listening all these things, only one like help I need from everyone is nowadays we are writing aksharams in English, limited alphabet. If you use some standards are there, that is ISO 15919, also Harvard Kyoto. For example, if you are trying to write da and the, small letter D is for the and capital letter D is for da. So all the initial capitalization rules of English you can ignore, because every Indian, their names has some pride. So please, if you try to write in Harvard Kyoto, if you don't have ISO keyboard, that would be great. If you can Google Harvard Kyoto as a standard, that would be great. That is only one sentence I wanted to convey here.
Sorry, ma'am. Uma Mahesh ji, sorry for the interruption, but could you please be a little more clear and give us the ISO, the numerals once again, to everybody's benefit?
Yeah, that is ISO 15919. Probably I'll just type here for everyone. ISO 15919 standard 15919. I'm not able to group chart, but if you can convey to everyone, it's great. ISO 15919, and second one is Harvard Kyoto, HARWARD, Harvard Kyoto, KYOTO. That's a standard. If you have plain keyboard, you can just use that. For example, capital D is for da, capital T for ta, small t for ta, like that. We can actually protect our aksharams. Then, yeah, that's only. Om Shanti.
Om Shanti. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hope to see you all shortly for the next webinar. Thank you so much. Thank you, Chandana, Brijesh. Thank you, everyone. Namaskaram.
Namaskar.
Thank you. Namaskar.